All right, today we're in Romans 9, and in Romans 9, you're really going to be reading a lot about the sovereignty of God. And what does that mean? That means as God, simply put, He can do whatever He wants. He created us. He designed life and everything that's about it. And so He has full control, and that's the sovereignty of God. So what should that mean to us? Probably first and foremost, it should cause us to be humble. We live as human beings a lot of our lives thinking that we're in control, that we have control of our destiny, that we can do whatever we want to do, or we can make whatever we want to make happen. And we, unfortunately, at certain points in our lives, we have a rude awakening that that's not the case. But the sovereignty of God is what we need to realize, be humbled by, but yet at the same time have a lot of peace in knowing that that same sovereign God also loves His creation, you and me, unconditionally. Let me read one verse or two here for you that you can take note of in Romans chapter 9. I'm going to begin in verse 14. And the writer says this, "What shall we conclude then? Is there injustice upon God's part? Certainly not. For God says to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion." That's the sovereignty of God. In verse 16, he then says, "So then God's gift is not a question of human will and human effort, but of God's mercy." In other words, it depends not on our own willingness, not on our own strength, as in running a race, but on God having mercy upon us. Again, what the writer's saying there is God's sovereign. And thank goodness that in His sovereignty, as I said before, not only has He chosen to love us unconditionally, but He's also chosen to extend to us mercy and grace. It's our responsibility to receive it. It's our responsibility to humble ourselves and embrace it. So think about those verses today as you read through the whole chapter. You can fight against God all you want. And you can say, I'm going to do it my way, as Frank Sinatra most famously proclaimed in his music. But at the end of the day, everything is God's way. He's a sovereign God, but He's a loving and merciful God.